The transport ship shook hard as it entered the docking bay of Orbital Station Kappa 7. Inside, 30 new recruits sat in metal seats, their bodies held tight by safety straps. Most of them were aliens from different worlds. Some had blue skin. Some had 4 arms. Some had scales covering their entire bodies. And in the back row sat 3 humans who looked very small compared to everyone else. Kept her eyes forward. She was 23 years old with short black hair and a calm face that showed no emotion. Beside her sat Park, a tall man with wide shoulders and a friendly smile that never seemed to disappear. On her other side was Lee, a thin woman whose fingers were always moving, always tapping, like she was solving math problems in her head. The door opened with a loud hiss. Bright white light flooded inside. A voice like thunder filled the transport ship. "Get out, move now." The recruits rushed outside, moved quickly but did not run. She had learned long ago that panic helped no one. Standing on the platform was the largest creature she had ever seen. Drillmaster was a reptilian warrior from a planet called. He stood over 2 meters tall. His green scales were covered with old scars from many battles. His yellow eyes looked at each recruit like they were insects he wanted to crush under his foot. "Line up," he shouted. 5 rows, do it now." The recruits scrambled into position. The humans ended up in the back row because they were the shortest, walked slowly down each line, stopping to look at different recruits. When he reached the humans, he stopped for a long time. "So," he said, his voice dropping to a low growl, "these are the humans everyone has been talking about." Said nothing, she kept her eyes forward. "Your species joined the Galactic Coalition 50 years ago," continued. "In that time you have done nothing important. You have no natural armor like the, no poison claws like the, no ability to read minds like the, you are soft, you are weak, you break easily." He leaned down until his face was very close to us. His breath smelled like old meat. "What exactly do you bring to this war, human?" Met his eyes without looking away. "We adapt, Drillmaster." For a moment nothing happened, then laughed. It was an ugly sound like rocks grinding together. "Adapt," he repeated. "We will see how well you adapt when a war beast is eating your legs." He walked back to the front of the group. "All of you are here because the Coalition needs soldiers. The Dominion is growing stronger every day. They have already destroyed 12 colony worlds. They will not stop until every other species is dead or enslaved." He pointed at a large building behind him. "This training facility will turn you into warriors, or it will kill you. I do not care which one happens. The weak will fail. The strong will survive. That is the only rule that matters." The first week was designed to break them. On day 1, they ran 20 kilometers in full combat armor. The armor was made for aliens with 4 legs or thick skin. It did not fit human bodies well. By the end of the run, shoulders were bleeding from the straps cutting into her flesh. She did not complain. On day 2, they trained in a room where the temperature changed every 10 minutes. First it was so hot that the air burned their lungs. Then it was so cold that ice formed on their skin. Many alien recruits with special body temperatures could not handle the changes. They collapsed and were carried away by medical robots. The 3 humans survived. On day 3 they practiced with pulse rifles. These weapons were heavy. They were made for creatures with 4 arms or enhanced strength. His arms shook as she tried to hold her steady, but she did not drop it. She did not give up. Watched them constantly. He seemed to be waiting for them to fail. Every time completed a task, she saw confusion in his yellow eyes. Humans were not supposed to be this strong. Humans were supposed to quit. By the end of the first week, 20 recruits had left the program. Some were injured. Some simply gave up. The remaining 10 recruits were split into 2 squads and were assigned to Squad 11 along with 2 warriors who glowed faintly blue in the dark. Squad 11 announced during dinner, "The hopeless cases, the ones no one expects to survive." Smiled at this. Sounds about right, he said quietly. Was studying the station's layout on a small tablet she had borrowed from the equipment room. The training schedules show increasingly difficult scenarios, she said. They are designed to test physical limits first, then mental limits, then both together. So it gets worse, said. Much worse. Ate her food slowly. It tasted like wet cardboard, but her body needed energy. Then we train harder, she said. We learn faster. We do whatever it takes. And if it's not enough, asked. Looked at him. It will be enough, it has to be. That night, while the other recruits slept, did extra exercises in the empty training room. Push-ups until her arms gave out. Running until her legs burned. She knew that was wrong about humans. They were not weak. They were different, and different could be dangerous. She thought about Earth, about the billions of humans who were counting on soldiers like her to protect them. They did not see humans as threats. They saw them as food. Planned to change that. When the morning alarm sounded, she was already awake, already ready, and when looked at her with those cold, yellow eyes, she looked right back. The Drillmaster wanted to break her. He would have to try much harder than this. The second week brought a new kind of training, called it the Obsidian Caves exercise. The caves were deep underground beneath the station. They were completely dark. No light could exist there naturally. The walls were made of black rock that absorbed everything. Your mission is simple, said as the recruit stood at the cave entrance. Reach the extraction point on the other side. You have 6 hours. Your pulse rifles are fully charged. Use them wisely. He did not tell them about the combat drones waiting inside. He did not tell them that the caves were designed for species with natural night vision. The humans had no such ability. In complete darkness, they would be blind. Squad 11 entered the caves together, took the lead position, covered the back with his rifle ready, walked in the middle, her mind already creating a map of the tunnels based on the echoes of their footsteps. The darkness was absolute, could not see her own hand in front of her face. The only light came from the small glow of their rifle targeting systems, but even that was barely enough to see 2 steps ahead. Stay close, whispered. Move slowly, listen for everything. They walked for almost an hour before they heard the first drone. It was a soft humming sound, like an angry insect. Raised her fist, signaling everyone to stop. Contact ahead, she breathed, 20 meters. Aimed his rifle toward the sound. The targeting system tried to lock on, but the darkness confused its sensors. He fired anyway. The pulse of blue energy lit up the tunnel for half a second. In that flash of light, they saw the drone explode into pieces. Good shot, said. Lucky shot, admitted. They continued moving. The caves twisted and turned in confusing patterns. Without natural light, time lost all meaning. Minutes felt like hours. Every sound made their hearts beat faster. 2 hours into the exercise, they met Squad 7 at a crossroads. Squad 7 was made up of 4 warriors. These aliens stood over 2 meters tall. Their skin had special patches that glowed with soft blue light. They could see perfectly in the darkness. The leader looked down at the humans, with disgust on his face. Lost already, mammals, he said. Your eyes are useless here. Perhaps you should crawl back to your and raise animals like your ancestors. Did not react to the insult. She simply nodded. Good luck to you as well. They laughed and walked away. Their glowing bodies disappeared into the tunnels. I wanted to punch him, admitted. Save your energy, said. We need it for survival, not pride. They pushed deeper into the caves. The drones became more frequent. The humans learned to listen for their sounds and predict their movements. They learned to fire in short bursts to save ammunition. They learned to work as a perfect team. Then everything went wrong. At hour 4, a massive power surge swept through the entire station. The lights on their rifles flickered and died. The targeting systems shut down. When tried to fire her weapon, nothing happened. Rifles are dead, reported, her voice tight with concern. His voice crackled through their communication devices. All squads, attention. There has been a station malfunction. All weapons are offline. Shelter in place. Repair crews are coming. Wait time is 4 hours. 4 hours, in complete darkness, with combat drones still hunting them. The drones said, "Are they offline too?" As if to answer his question, a humming sound came from behind them, then another from the left. The drones were still active. They were still hunting. "Move," ordered, "now." They ran blindly through the tunnels. The walls scraped their shoulders. The floor was uneven and they stumbled many times. Behind them, the humming grew louder. A scream echoed through the caves, then another, and another. Recognized the voices. Squad 7. This glowing skin had become a death sentence. In the darkness, their bioluminescence made them easy targets for the drones. "They're being killed," said. "We can't help them," replied. "Our weapons are useless." Stopped running. Her breathing was heavy, but her mind was working fast. "No," she said, "we can't use our weapons the normal way, but that doesn't mean we can't fight." She knelt down and began taking apart her pulse rifle in the darkness. Her fingers moved from memory. She had cleaned this weapon 100 times. She knew every piece. "What are you doing?" asked. "Humans survived on Earth for thousands of years without pulse rifles," said. "We hunted animals bigger than us with wooden spears and stone axes. We built traps with rope and sticks. We used our brains when our bodies were not enough." She removed a small crystal from inside the rifle. It was the focusing crystal that directed the energy beam, but it had another use. When exposed to heat, it could detect thermal signatures. Said, "You studied engineering. Can you use this crystal to detect the drones?" Took the crystal. Her fingers examined it carefully. "Yes," she said slowly. "If I connect it to the communication device's power supply, it will ping when it senses heat. The drones run hot. We'll know when they're close." "Good. Find metal pipes or anything we can use as weapons. We're going to fight these machines the old way." Grinned in the darkness. "I knew there was a reason I liked you." For the next 30 minutes, they prepared, built the sensor device, found metal supports that could be sharpened into spears, created tripwires from electrical cables pulled from damaged wall panels. They were not helpless anymore. The first drone came 20 minutes later. The device beeped a warning, heard the humming approach. She waited until the last moment, then swung her metal spear with all her strength. The drone shattered against the cave wall. "One down," she said. "Many more to go," replied. But for the first time since the lights went out, they were not afraid. They were hunters now. And the drones were their prey. The next 2 hours were the longest of life. The drones kept coming. Some were small, the size of a human head, fast and deadly. Others were bigger, with cutting arms that could slice through metal. Each one had heat sensors and motion trackers. Each one was designed to kill. But the humans had something the drones did not expect. They had creativity. Sensor device worked perfectly. Every time a drone came close, it would beep. The pitch would change based on distance. High pitch meant danger was near. Low pitch meant they had time. "Contact coming from the left tunnel," announced. "Medium size, 30 seconds away." Positioned herself beside the tunnel entrance, crouched on the other side. They held their metal spears tight. The humming grew louder, closer, closer. The drone flew into the intersection and struck at the same moment. Their spears hit the machine's body from both sides. Sparks flew in the darkness. The drone crashed to the ground, its mechanical parts twitching and then going still. 5 counted. "That makes 5 destroyed." "Not enough," said. "Keep moving toward the extraction point." They traveled slowly through the tunnels. Every few minutes another drone would find them. Each fight was dangerous. Each fight could be their last, but the humans did not give up. suggested something new. The drones communicate with each other using radio signals, she explained. If we can capture one mostly intact, I might be able to use its transmitter to send false signals. You want to confuse them, understood? Better than that, I want to make them attack each other. The next drone they fought was a small scout type. Hit it just hard enough to damage its movement systems without destroying its brain. Quickly opened its shell and connected wires from the drone's transmitter to her modified communication device. This will take some time, she said. I need to understand their signal patterns. We'll protect you, promised. Help me set up defenses. While worked and built a trap system around their position, they used tripwires connected to pieces of loose rock. When a drone crossed the wire, rocks would fall and alert them. It was simple but effective. The first wave came 15 minutes later. 3 drones attacked from different directions and fought back to back, their spears swinging in wide arcs. One drone cuts arm before he destroyed it. Another almost reached before knocked it out of the air. Almost done, said, her voice calm despite the chaos around her. Faster would be better, grunted, pressing his injured arm against his body. Finally made a triumphant sound. Got it, I'm sending the signal now. For a moment nothing happened. Then they heard something strange. Drone fighting drone, metal smashing against metal in the distant tunnels. The machines were attacking each other, confused by the false commands. It worked, laughed. It actually worked. We should move now, said, before they figure out the trick. They ran through the tunnels while the drones destroyed each other. The path to the extraction point was clearer now, but they were not alone. A weak voice called out from a side tunnel, "Help, please help." Stopped, it was the leader who had insulted them earlier. His glowing skin was dim now, flickering like a dying light. 2 others lay beside him, unconscious but alive. Leave them, said quietly. They treated us like dirt. Looked at the injured aliens. She remembered the insults, the disrespect, the way they had looked at humans like worthless creatures. Then she walked toward them. What are you doing? Asked. Being human, replied. She grabbed the leader's arm and pulled him up. Can you walk? He stared at her with confused eyes. Why are you helping us? Because you need help, that's reason enough. Sighed heavily. Then he smiled his usual smile and picked up one of the unconscious. I guess we're carrying aliens now. Take the other one, ordered. We're all getting out of here together. The journey to the extraction point took another hour. They were heavy. The humans were exhausted, but they did not stop. They did not leave anyone behind. When they finally reached the exit, bright light flooded over them. Standing at the entrance was Drillmaster. His yellow eyes moved from the humans to the injured to the makeshift weapons they carried. Your rifles were broken, he said slowly. The drones were hunting you. You had no night vision, no natural weapons, no advantages at all. Set down the leader gently. Then she dropped the metal spear she had been carrying for hours. It was covered in drone fluid and sparks. You asked what humans bring to this war, she said. Now you know we bring this. She gestured at her squad, at the wounded aliens they had saved, at the primitive weapons they had built from nothing. We don't quit, we don't surrender, and we never stop fighting even when the odds are impossible. Was silent for a long moment. His face showed no emotion. Then he looked at the leader. How many drones did Squad 7 destroy? This voice was barely a whisper. 3, before our lights betrayed us. Turn back to, and Squad 11. 14, answered, plus 8 more that we tricked into destroying each other. The Drillmaster's eyes widened slightly. 22 drones, with broken weapons, in total darkness. Dismissed, he said finally. Report to medical, then rest. As the humans walked past him, spoke one more time. Recruit. Stopped, yes, Drillmaster. Impressive work. It was not much, just 2 words, but from it meant everything. Nodded once and continued walking. Behind her, she heard the leader calling out, "Human, wait." She turned. The alien was struggling to stand. His squad members were waking up slowly. "I owe you my life," he said. "I was wrong about your species. I will not make that mistake again." Smiled slightly. "Then we both learned something today." She left the caves with her squad. Her body was broken and tired. Her muscles screamed with pain. Her hands were cut and bleeding. But inside, she felt stronger than ever. This was only the beginning. After the Obsidian Caves incident, everything changed. The story of Squad 11 spread through the station like fire. Other recruits whispered about the humans who destroyed 22 drones with metal pipes and tricks. The warriors told everyone how it saved their lives even after they had insulted her. But Drillmaster was not impressed. He was obsessed. He doubled the training schedule for Squad 11. When other squads rested, the humans trained. When other squads ate full meals, the humans got half portions, seemed determined to find their breaking point. "He hates us," said one night, his body covered in bruises from that day's combat exercises. "He wants to prove we got lucky in the caves." Shook her head. "No, he's studying us. Every time we complete something impossible, I see him writing notes. He's trying to understand how we work." Wrapped bandages around her damaged knuckles. "Let him study. Let him push. We'll take everything he gives us." The next month was brutal. Put them in thin atmosphere chambers where the air was too weak to breathe properly. Humans needed more oxygen than most species. Within minutes, their lungs burned and their heads felt like they would explode. But they stayed. They adapted their breathing. They found a rhythm that kept them alive. He put them in high radiation rooms that slowly poisoned their cells. Their skin turned red. Their stomachs emptied everything they ate. Medical robots had to give them special treatments every night, but they did not quit. He kept them awake for days without sleep, 72 hours of constant training with no rest. Their minds started seeing things that were not there. Their bodies moved like broken machines. On the third day, collapsed during a running exercise. He hit the ground hard and did not move. And carried him to the medical bay, watched them go. "Weakness," he announced to the other recruits. "Humans reach their limits quickly." But 4 hours later was back on the training field. His face was pale, his legs shook, but he stood in formation with his squad. Said nothing, he simply wrote more notes. Finally, the end of training arrived. The final examination was called the Siege Scenario. It was the hardest test in the entire program. "You will defend a position against enemy forces," explained to all remaining squads. "The attack will not stop. You will have limited ammunition, limited supplies, and no backup. Your goal is to survive as long as possible." "What's the record?" asked. 22 hours, held by a heavy infantry team. He looked directly at the humans. "Most squads last 8 hours. Some last 12. No one expects you to match the record. This is simply about seeing how long you survive before you quit." The scenario began at midnight. Squad 11's position was a small building at the center of a ruined city. The walls were damaged. The roof had holes. It was designed to be impossible to defend. "Perfect," said sarcastically as she examined their new home. The first wave hit 2 hours later. Simulated enemy soldiers attacked from all directions. They were not real, just advanced holograms that could hurt you if they touched you. But the danger was real. The pain was real. Squad 11 held. At hour 6, their ammunition started running low, counted their remaining power cells. "At our current rate of fire, we have enough for 4 more hours, she reported. "After that, we're empty." "Then we make every shot count," said. They built barriers from broken furniture. They created false positions to confuse the enemy. They took turns sleeping in 15-minute shifts while others kept watch. At hour 12, noticed that shots were becoming sloppy. He missed targets he should have hit easily. "Your hands are shaking," she said. He looked at his fingers. They were trembling badly. "The radiation treatments," he admitted. "The doctors said there might be nerve damage. I didn't want to worry you." Put her hand on his shoulder. "Switch to melee defense. Guard the back door, letting me handle the shooting. I can still fight." "I know you can, but we need you healthy for the long game. This isn't about pride, this is about winning." He nodded slowly. Okay, you're right." At hour 18, they passed the 8-hour average. At hour 20, they approached the record. The enemy waves were coming faster now, bigger, more aggressive. The simulation was designed to increase difficulty until defenders broke. "Ammunition status," called out. 12 shots left," answered. "After that, we're fighting with our hands." At hour 22, they matched the record, and they kept going. At hour 30, they were out of ammunition, completely empty. The pulse rifles were now useless pieces of metal. But had a plan. "Remember the caves? You that drone's transmitter." "Yes, but these enemies are different. They're controlled by the station's central computer." "Can you hack into it, send false signals, anything?" Exhausted eyes suddenly showed a spark of hope. "Maybe. If I can connect to the scenario's control network, I might be able to create confusion in their attack patterns." "Do it." While worked on hacking and defended the position with broken furniture and thrown rocks, it was desperate, it was primitive, but it held. At hour 34, cracked the network. Suddenly, enemy soldiers started attacking each other. Some walked into walls, some stood frozen in place. "Beautiful," laughed. But the simulation adapted. At hour 36, new enemies appeared, ones that were immune to tricks. The final position fell. Squad 11 was overrun. The simulation ended. Red lights flashed everywhere, announcing their defeat. Arrived with medical teams. He found unconscious at her post, still holding her rifle even though it had been empty for hours. When she woke up in the medical bay, the Drillmaster was standing beside her bed. 36 hours, he said quietly. "You beat the previous record by 14 hours. Tried to sit up, pain shot through every part of her body. The squad. Alive, injured but alive." She relaxed slightly. Then she noticed something strange in his expression. Not anger, not satisfaction, something else. "Your rifle," he said. "It was empty since hour 30, but my sensors showed it was still firing at hour 36. How?" Looked at her left arm. A crude port had been cut into her forearm. Wires ran from the wound to her rifle. "I plugged it into my pulse," she said simply. Stared at her. For the first time since she had met him, the Drillmaster looked afraid. "You connected a weapon to your own nervous system." "The rifle needed power. Human bodies make electricity. I just gave it what it needed." "The pain alone." "Pain is temporary, losing is permanent." Was silent for a very long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was different, softer, almost respectful. "I have trained soldiers from 67 species across this galaxy. I have never seen anything like what you did today." He stood straight and performed a formal salute, a gesture reserved only for honored equals. "Rest now, recruit, you have earned it." He left the room quietly. Looked at the wound on her arm. The medical robots had sealed it, but a scar would remain forever. A reminder of what humans could do when pushed to the breaking point. They didn't break. They became something stronger. 3 days after the siege scenario, was called to the station commander's office. The office was large and filled with trophies from old wars, flags from conquered enemies, weapons taken from fallen opponents. Behind a massive desk sat Admiral Thorne, a gray-skinned alien with 6 eyes arranged in a circle around his head. Beside him stood Drillmaster. "Recruit," the Admiral said. His voice was deep like water flowing through caves. "I have read the reports about your training performance. They are unusual." "Stood at attention. I just did what was necessary, sir." "You turned yourself into a weapons power source. That is not normal behavior for any species in this coalition." "With respect, sir, humans are not like other species." The Admiral leaned forward, all 6 eyes focused on her. "Explain." Took a breath. She had thought about this moment for days. How to make aliens understand what it meant to be human. "We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us," she began. "Earth had predators with teeth and claws, diseases that wiped out millions, weather that froze us and burned us and drowned us. We had no armor, no venom, no ability to fly or breathe underwater. Every other creature on our world was better equipped for survival than us." She paused. "But we survived, not because we were strong, because we refused to accept our weakness. We made clothes to fight the cold. We built shelters to escape predators. We created medicine to defeat disease. When nature gave us nothing, we made something. When our tools failed, we became the tools ourselves." The Admiral was silent, watched with an expression she could not read. "That is what I did during the siege scenario," continued. "My rifle died. I needed power. Human bodies produce electricity. Every heartbeat, every nerve firing, every muscle moving creates electrical current. Not much, but enough." She held up her arm. "I cut into my own flesh, connected the rifle's power input to my nervous system. Every beat of my heart triggered the firing mechanism. My pulse became the weapon's pulse. We became one." "That level of pain should have caused you to pass out," the Admiral said. "It almost did, many times, but I had a mission. I had a squad depending on me. Humans can ignore pain when something more important is at stake." The Admiral sat back in his chair. His 6 eyes blinked in a pattern that might have been surprise or respect. "Leave us," he said too. The Drillmaster hesitated, then he nodded and left the room. When they were alone, the Admiral spoke differently, more personally. "I have commanded coalition forces for 200 years. I have seen the hold positions for days without food. I have seen the assassins kill 100 soldiers with their poison. I have seen empires rise and fall." He stood up and walked to a window that showed stars stretching into infinity. "But I have never seen a species like yours. You should be the weakest race in this galaxy. Instead, you might be the most dangerous." "We don't want to be dangerous," said. "We just want to survive." "That is what makes you dangerous. You will do anything to survive, anything to protect your people. There is no limit to what you will sacrifice." He turned back to face her. "The Dominion is coming. They have destroyed 12 colony worlds. They believe they cannot be stopped. They have never faced humans in real battle." He smiled. It was the first smile she had seen on any alien since arriving at the station. "I think they are about to receive a very unpleasant surprise." 2 months later, received her officer commission. She was the youngest human to earn such a rank in Coalition history. Park was promoted to training instructor at Kappa 7, teaching new recruits the skills that Squad 11 had invented. Lee was recruited by Coalition intelligence. Her ability to hack enemy systems made her extremely valuable. The siege scenario record was never broken, but more importantly, the training program was completely changed. New courses were added based on human survival techniques, classes on improvised weapons, lessons on endurance beyond physical limits. The human methods became required study for every recruit. And when they finally attacked Coalition space, they learned what the Admiral had predicted. The first battle was on a small mining colony called Epsilon 4, 200 warriors against a defense force of 50 soldiers. 30 of those soldiers were human. The expected easy victory. Their intelligence said humans were fragile, soft, easy prey. They did not expect humans to rig mining explosives as traps. They did not expect humans to fight in tunnels where the superior size became a disadvantage. They did not expect humans to keep fighting after injuries that would have stopped any other species. By the end of the battle, 170 were dead. The mining colony was saved. The humans lost 8 soldiers. Each one died fighting. Each one took at least 10 enemies with them. Reports of the battle spread across the galaxy. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know about the human species, the weak creatures who were not weak at all, the soft mammals who turned themselves into weapons. Drillmaster wrote an official military report about human combat potential. One section became famous across the coalition. When evaluating human soldiers, standard measurements fail. They possess no natural advantages. Their bodies are fragile compared to most combat species. Their senses are limited. Their physical strength is moderate at best. However, these evaluations are meaningless. Humans do not fight with their bodies. They fight with something else. Call it determination. Call it stubbornness. Call it the refusal to accept defeat under any circumstances. When their weapons fail, they build new weapons. When their new weapons fail, they use their bodies as weapons. When their bodies fail, they use their minds. And when everything fails, they simply decide that failure is not an option and continue fighting anyway. My recommendation: never give humans a reason to fight, because if you do, they will find a way to win. They always find a way. Years later, rose to the rank of fleet commander. She led human forces in dozens of battles against the. She never lost. On the day the war finally ended, when the Dominion signed the surrender agreement, a reporter asked her how humans had achieved the impossible. She smiled and touched the scar on her arm, the one she had given herself during the siege scenario so long ago. Every species in this galaxy has strengths, she said. They have their armor, they have their poison, they have their minds. But humans have something different. We have the ability to look at impossible situations and refuse to believe they are impossible. We have the willingness to suffer any pain, make any sacrifice, do whatever it takes to protect the people we love. She looked directly at the camera. The Drillmaster once asked what humans bring to this war. I told him we adapt, but that's not the whole answer. We bring hope. The hope that no matter how dark things get, there is always a way forward, always a chance to win, always a reason to keep fighting. That's what it means to be human. That's what we bring. The reporter was silent for a moment. Then she asked one final question. Is it true that during your training, you connected a pulse rifle to your own heartbeat? Smile grew wider. The Drillmaster yelled that I needed power cells, so I gave it my pulse. My heart became the trigger. Every beat was a shot. Every moment I stayed alive was another moment I stayed in the fight. She shrugged. That's just how humans work. When everything else is taken from us, we give ourselves, all of ourselves, until the very end. The interview ended, walked away from the cameras, toward the sunset of an alien world that was now at peace. Behind her, the galaxy watched and remembered. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the fastest. They were not but they were the ones who never, ever gave up. And that made all the difference.